Hello, people. We should be live.
Cool.
Awesome.
There's a few people watching. I'm assuming one of them's KJ.
I'm actually not in yet. I'm doing something on the dock quick.
I'm in, and then there's this other guy.
Bro, hype.
Let's go.
The Arkansas Amber Bombs.
Arkansas. No, I think it's actually illegal in Arkansas to say Arkansas.
I
think that's one of those.
that.
It's one of those weird, those weird laws. Like, I can't remember if it's Georgia or Texas, where it's illegal to hold an ice cream cone in your back left pocket on a Sunday.
That's one of those random laws that they never enforce.
Well, that law specifically used to be a thing because that's how people would steal horses.
What the hell?
They would they would put the ice cream cone in their back pocket, and the horse would follow them home.
Sometimes it's
It's got a big brain though.
Horses only get stolen on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, Sunday used to be the day that everyone would go into town. So, but yeah, I can't remember if that's Georgia or if it's Texas, but one of the two. Definitely, that's a law.
that is very odd. All right. Do you want to jump in? Do we have a good amount of people here, or
Yep, I think we're good to
Yes.
go.
6 viewers? All right, yeah, let's do it.
All right, so like we were saying, we're starting out with the Arkansas Ambi Bombs. Right off the bat, their fire and grass are two very good fire and grass, and then they've got Inteleon as their water. So I like the fact that two of their fire, water, grass core can be offensive or defensive. Like, they both fill a pretty good role in being an offensive / defensive Pokemon, and then they top that off with Inteleon, which now gets Flip Turn, had U-Turn, but as if there's no water absorb Pokemon on the other side of the field, might as well run Flip Turn. So it gives good momentum, applies good pressure to the team. You add Hitmonlee in with that, and you've got a good physical and special kind of threat to the team, especially with terrain.
You've also got a double Intimidate core, which is nice.
Yeah.
Gudra provides very good special bulk. Comfey is nice for, I mean, honestly, on this team, Comfey is the hazard removal. So that's a little
Yeah, there's
interesting.
I was just about to say, there's no flying type on this team.
Sap Zipper is a surprisingly good niche because of that, because the only grasses on the team is Dewdra and Rillaboom. And if Rillaboom's setting up his own terrain, it could be abused. Also,
That is true.
Arcanine.
Yeah, this is really weird. I don't dislike this team, but I can't say I like the team too much. Like, Dugtrio Lola feels a little weird. I think Dugtrio Lola could be swapped out for something that could be better with hazard control. I forgot Hitmonlee does get Rapid Spin.
Yeah, I guess right.
So your hazard removal is defog with Comfey and Rapid Spin with Hitmonlee. I don't love that.
I don't like the. Actually, I'm gonna look at some of the tiers, like the Pokemon left in the tiers.
What I don't like about this team is the speed tiers. Like, he hard loses versus Trick Room, I feel like. Like, his only slow mon is Corsola Galarian.
And that doesn't really do anything to Trick Room.
Exactly.
On the
So
flip
I don't really
side,
like
he
this
does-
speed tiers.
On the flip side, though, he does have pretty, like, I don't know how many of these mons get taunt. I know Crook gets taunt, but like, so he does have some pretty good fast, at least a decently fast taunt option in Crook. I don't know about Inteleon or Cincino, but yeah, I mean, that's at least there. So there are definitely ways that this team can prevent Trick Room from coming, and especially like Comfey also gets Trick Room, so having that option there to potentially reverse Trick Room is nice.
Okay, that's good actually.
I don't love Corsola on this team. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not the biggest fan of Corsola and Crook on the team. I'm looking at the tier 2s and stuff, and there's still some good value tier 2s that I think I would take over Crook, or at least try to plan around, because there's still things like, is Runerigus still open? Runerigus is still open. Runerigus is open. Cofagrigus is open. And those two Pokemon are two of the better tier 3s in my opinion. And I just don't know what Corsola is doing for this team, especially since you already have double Intimidate. You're nerfing your own Strength Sap. And then there's still things like Hippowdon left in tier 2. I don't know. I feel like the Firewater Grass Core is the strongest part about this team, but it also kind of hurts that they're all just single typing Pokemon.
Which I think that's fine in this particular case. I just, like I said, I think it's more, there's a lot of utility missing, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I mean, this team is very bulky, at least on the special side, but it's not really taking many hits on the physical side. But I guess that's what the Intimidate and Strength Sap are there for. So in terms of just like sheer bulk, this team is solid. I just kind of struggle to see like how this team is going to really do damage. This team seems like it's going to be trying to play the long game a lot, and that's not necessarily going to work if they're going to run into like some hyper offensive teams or something like that, which I know, just based on doing some quick looks, I know there are definitely some hyper offensive teams.
Yeah, like
he has to play offensively with his team, because like Gudra has not like reliable recovery, and Comfey is like kinda
Like,
he needed a Wish Passer on this
hurting
team.
him.
I think he definitely needed some kind of Wish Passer on this team. Is Umbreon still open in tier 3?
I feel like it isn't.
It's
No, it's
not. I think
They probably
Umbreon
not, but
Umbreon might have been a Pokemon you wanted to prioritize. I don't like this comfy or this Corsola slot at all. I think that needs to be changed to something.
I think I don't know. I see why it's there. Like,
Same.
It gets recovery because of the terrain, which it doesn't get otherwise.
And also, the thing about Corsola here is it's one of the only rockers too.
Yeah, I think he could have taken one of the other ghosts in tier 3, and Runerigus or Cofagrigus. Both of those get rocks and have a little bit more of an offensive presence. Basically, get the same moves outside of Strength Sap that Comfy does.
Except they get Toxic Spikes.
It's a little weird.
too.
It's a little weird. I actually think that Corsola could be better in that slot than Corsola, because at least Corsola is giving you like that big special attack stat, like, and that might be a little weird, but I don't know if this team needs another defensive mon like that. Like, I don't think it needs like a Cofagrigus or a Runerigus. Like, those are very good mons, but I feel like this team's lacking some offensive pressure, because Gudra's not hitting, like, Gudra's a wall. It's not hitting, even with 100 attack and 110 special attack, like, it's not hitting incredibly hard. Boltund, even though it has strong jaw, like, its move pool is very limited. Crook, even though it can hit pretty hard, it also is really frail because of its stats are nice, but because of its typing and how many things it's weak to and how many offensive types it's weak to, it dies very quickly.
And you're having to run high horsepower every week.
Exactly, you're nerfing it a little bit, so that's not ideal. Inteleon hits hard and is solid, but again, like, a solid Scarfer can outspeed it, so there's that. Like, this team is gonna, I feel like the top 3 mons on this team are gonna be relied on heavily. Like, Rillaboom, Arcanine, Hitmonlee. Those 3 mons are probably going to come to like 90% of this team's games.
I'm looking
which
at this
isn't necessarily
team,
a problem, but
I'm looking at this team and Corsola being on the team. Like, another reason I don't like Corsola on this team is it baits people into bringing knockoff.
Yeah.
Which I don't like for this team. Every Pokemon I see on this roster seems to want to keep its item. You know what I'm saying? Like, Crook, if it's a Scarf Crook that week, definitely wants to stay Scarf. Inteleon could probably not be Specs a lot of the weeks. Like, it doesn't really need a boosting item. It hits pretty hard still, but that boosting item just is so nice. Rillaboom wants to keep his band /AV/leftovers. Same with Arcanine. Like, a lot of these Pokemon kind of want to keep their item around, and Corsola makes me want to bring knockoff on multiple Pokemon to deal with that. And if Hitmonlee's item gets knocked off, like I'm sure Grassy Seed Hitmonlee is coming most of the time, but if you're ever bringing a Curse Wide Herb set or a Fake Out Normal Gym set and you switch it in on a knockoff and you're not actually ready to sweep with Hitmonlee at that point, then even Hitmonlee doesn't want its item knocked off. So I think it puts you in kind of a tricky situation there.
I also
I don't see why Chinchino on this team. Like I would have switched Chinchino for like X-Cloud or something for more wall breaking and speed saving.
I think that the thing that's really missing here is a psychic type. Like having Crook with no psychic type is something I don't think I would ever do. Just because like this team kind of gets run through by good fighting types. Like
Yeah.
I feel like it just doesn't have a flying resist either when two of your best mons are weak to flying, and your resists are Dugtrio, Alola, and Boltund.
And neither one of those are taking Abandoned Brave Bird.
I mean, there are not many good flying types in this decks too.
Of course,
but even like a better
if-
electric, like a better electric type, like a more,
I mean, Boltund is pretty good. I feel like.
I mean like
Boltund,
bulk wise.
Oh, I mean,
like neither
I-
of his resists
I
that are
guess.
taking it.
Yeah, I think this team is built around Rillaboom, and I think it's solid, but there are definitely things that are missing. And like, I don't know. I think if you're, in my personal opinion, seeing a lot of teams with Rillaboom, it's like if you're going to build around Rillaboom, you want a good fire type, you want a good water type to be able to pressure opposing fire types.
You want a
your
good
ground
electric type is what you really, really need.
Like you need good flying resist, because Rillaboom, that's the one thing Rillaboom can't hit. Rillaboom doesn't have a rock move or like an electric move or anything, or ice move or none of that. It doesn't hit flying.
Yeah,
moves.
you can catch a fire type on a switch in with like high horsepower or something, but you're not touching any flying type in this format.
Yeah.
I mean, there aren't a ton of them, but things like Braviary come to mind. Even like even Pelipper, like just there are definitely flying types that are gonna
yeah, that's true. That's true.
be able to punish.
And Corviknight just comes in and bolts up.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Skarmory,
Boltund is too weak for Corviknight and Skarmory. Or maybe enough for Skarmory, but I don't know about Corviknight.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some tools missing. I think it seemed to start out pretty well, and then as the draft went on, it kind of lost where it was going for a little bit. But
And I'm looking and I see a bunch of Rotom forms open.
mhm.
Actually, it looks like all of them except Fan.
Yeah, there's a ton of great Pokemon still open. I'm surprised there weren't more
Like,
transactions. Like
I don't know, I even
Conk is still open, Pharaoh's still open. There's still a ton of Pokemon open.
I do really like something like Rotom Wash on this team. Even though it's tier 1, like Rotom Wash could be really good for this team.
Yeah.
I think Azu would have been really nice for this team as a water type.
I think adding Vaporeon on the team, even if you have Inteleon, if you can, for some kind of wish passing. Like wish passing doesn't cover everything that this team is missing, but it helps it way more than not having it on here.
Yeah, that's fair. See, I'd probably think get a low tier wish passer and build your high tiers around.
I mean, is Aromatisse open? It's not.
No, it's not.
I'm weirdly toughing. Anyway, I think that's about it for that.
Yeah, we can move on to the next team.
We got
My
Ralphie.
draft away from home. Yeah. It's a draggable team. It has T-spikes.
This is a very interesting team. It hits hard. It hits really hard. And like on paper, it doesn't hit hard. But then when you look at the Mons and start to think about abilities, like Azu, even though it has base 50 attack, is still hitting incredibly hard with. And
Huge power.
same
and
with
then
Diggersby. Wow, yeah, the dual, like, oh my goodness, that's gonna be so hard to deal with.
Yeah.
I think the fact that Azu and Diggersby are both here means that he's not gonna really have any problems breaking through special walls. That's for sure. You've got webs for the team. You've got a trapper that I don't necessarily like. I guess Magneton actually does make sense because it's trapping steals for Azu.
Yeah.
Because Azu's gonna have a harder time dealing with steel types. But
And even like Fire Blast, Dragapult can struggle sometimes.
I mean, if we're being completely honest, though, the only real steel types that Magneton itself is putting pressure on is Corvin Scarp, because Magneton doesn't get body press.
I think
That
that's
is
all it
true.
needs to do. Azu
Yeah.
has Bulldoze for Breath Steals.
yeah,
I mean,
think you
knockoff.
should-
I think knockoff from Azu kills
It-
most steals.
It does, but it doesn't kill those two, and you can't bulldoze them.
That's true. Yeah. So that was definitely a good call. I mean, any team with Dragapult's gonna be solid. I think having Drapion for T-Spike options is really nice. I think the combination of T-Spikes and webs on this team are solid. I'm interested to see Zarude on this team. I think I'm not entirely sure if it fits.
I'm gonna say it doesn't. I think they have a good enough. I think they have a good enough Dart type in Drapion that their Grass type could have been something a little bit better.
I feel like the team could have benefited from having a Fire type as a Fairy Resist.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I think that the thing that's kind of the two mons that kind of stick out to me are Golduck and Zarude.
Mhm.
Like, I really like Claydol as a spinning option, especially because you have both Shuckle and Drapion, so you want to be pushing hazards pretty heavily, and Diggersby gets spikes.
and you have Espeon for Magic Bounce.
Yep, you have Espeon to deter. So I think, yeah, Zarude and Golduck seem to be the things that are kind of standing out to me. I think a lower tier grass type would be really nice, like swapping Golduck for any other lower tier grass types, and then at that point you just have a free slot to take something in tier 2. Like, you already have a dark type. I mean, you have your cores kind of rounded out outside of having a fire type, but outside of like a fairy resist, I don't necessarily know what you would need a fire type here for.
I guess
Like-
not, but
I mean, Lilligant is still open in tier 4. If you put Quiver Dance Lilligant beside Belly Drum Azu, they've got a couple setup options they need to be scared of. It's one of the better low tier grass types. You even got like Executor in tier 5.
That is true, yeah. Executor, but then you have a severe.
You got Alolan
weakness.
Executor in tier 4.
yeah.
I guess the question is like how, like, reworking that. How would you?
Like,
Because
imagine adding Alolan Executor to this team and Trick Rooming into like a Bandit Azu. It doesn't, like, you don't even have to. Your opponent's prepping for Belly Drum. You just straight up bring Trick Room, and you'd have it on multiple mons. You have it on Claydol and Alolan Executor at that point,
and Espeon.
and Espeon.
Yeah,
I could just
like
see
you
left
should
him
get
at tier
the
2
Alolan.
spot.
Thanks, Mr. Top City, for the follow, and JCK. I missed that 10 minutes ago. But yeah, Golduck here is just a little weird because it's not like you have a bulky water and a offensive water. They're both offensive. I'm gonna put quotes around Golduck because to me it's not super offensive outside of rain.
I mean, Azu is pretty bulky.
yeah, I
all
mean if
things
it's a bulkier roll, it has 180,
but
that's still not. To me,
It's
that's
not your
not a
traditional-
bulky water. You know,
It's not your traditional bulky water, yeah, but it's deceptively bulky.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, I think slotting Diggersby in the tier 2 slot and then dropping Zarude and Golduck, that gives you 160 points.
you even
So-
got there's Tentacruel still open in tier 2.
That's, yeah.
Well, like I said, I don't even know if you need to do it that way though. You literally just like you slot Diggersby in tier 2, you drop Zarude and Golduck, and you have 160 points to play around with. Then you basically, like you said, you look at Alolan Exeggutor, you
Tier
take
4.
that in tier 4, and then you still have a tier 3 that you have open. And
And
at that point,
does he have a ground
could-
type?
you
He has played
could. Yeah, he doesn't need. Well, he still has Diggersby. Like, he
And-
wouldn't be
and
dropping
Diggersby.
Diggersby.
Yeah, and Diggersby.
So at that point, you could go with like.
Roserade maybe.
There's Jealous in tier 3.
There is the Jelly.
No, this team's missing a fighting type. So I was thinking.
Passimian.
I was thinking Passimian, or even is Passimian available?
Mm-hmm.
No, I was thinking something like Beware. Beware on this team. I think this is a team that could utilize Beware. Like, it's not a mon that typically gets.
And Beware, then you're like super weak to Fairy. Like you have Trick Cube users, but like it's kind of hard to get your mons into Fairy attacks.
That's fair.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe not.
There's
Beware.
not-
I mean, Centiskorch is also there, like as a fire type. If
Yeah,
you
I'm
did
looking,
want a
trying to
fire
find a fire type to go on this team, and there's not
Yeah, I
a
actually
ton
like
left.
Centiskorch because you don't have a fighting type, so you kind of struggle versus dark types. But with Centiskorch, you also like beat dark types.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, not having a great way to hit dark types with Dragapult on the team is. You definitely want a way to hit dark types.
Somebody joined and said, "Hi, do you do competitive Pokemon?"
We do. We do
Yes.
the competitive Pokemon.
This is a draft league recap stream for the viewers that aren't aware.
Sadly, there is no fighting electric type.
Imagine Zeraora should have been fighting electric.
Then again, Zeraora went pretty early.
That is true. Yeah.
No,
I
it
don't know.
did
I think-
naturally, but
I think both of these teams are like both of the teams that we've looked at are good. And
They're just missing a couple things,
exactly.
which is to be expected from some drafts, anyways.
yeah.
For sure. Do we want to hop to the next team?
Yeah.
The Galarian German Galopus.
German. What? What's Galopa? Is that a German word, or is that?
It's a German word for Rapidash.
It's Rapidash in German, yeah.
Hmm. They should have should have just kept it as German Galopas and just kept the logo as GG.
That would have been pretty funny.
Hex Tangrowth, oh no.
This team is like quite a pain to break.
Oh, I like this. At first glance, I like this team.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it has a lot of the things you want. That's for sure.
You got a huge speed tier gap in Excelgor Rapidash, but
I mean, that's not too bad. I
There's
think
not
the one
much
that
of a gap.
the one that really bothers me is Haxorus to Noctowl.
yeah, Actress and Noctowl, yep.
You're missing some key like Scarfers speeds in that.
Yeah.
I think Aromatisse is put into a Trick Room role on this team.
It can definitely Wish Pass here too.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I want to run a Trick Room, but then you look at all the Pokemon that would work inside Trick Room, and you think, okay, Magnezone can do damage and Pangro can do damage.
And Tylo, I guess, too.
And Tangrowth to an extent.
Oh yeah, Tangrowth, I guess.
But it's like usually Tangrowth and Pylo are definitely gonna come
Defensively, yeah.
defensively, yeah. They got the double regenerator core though, the famous Tangrowth Toxapex pair.
On top of Mew.
Yeah,
like-
on top of Mew.
That's I think, and Zank, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was going for like at least with the original core, like a sort of semi-stall,
Yeah, that was the
Core.
plan. That was the plan.
which I mean that's definitely gonna be hard to break. Like Mew Tangrowth Toxapex sounds awful to break. It sounds like it's gonna be a nightmare for some people.
I kind of wish there was something more other than Haxorus high tier as kind of a wall breaker. I think you're relying pretty heavily on Magnezone and Pangro on this team, and they're both pretty slow.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where things could be changed though. I don't see like I feel like something. I don't know. I'm trying to slot it in, and I just can't.
Hmm.
Like, I really like Pangoro, but maybe a Selgor would be the one that I would like. Maybe a Selgor is the mon that I'm not super sold on here. Maybe something like instead of a Selgor, maybe something like Gallade.
Gallade, or even
Legit open.
even Golisopod. Like I think Golisopod is kind of a slept on
I have it.
tier 4. Oh, you have it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, it's picked up. I said Gallade because I don't think Gallade got taken.
It is not picked up.
Yeah, man, Gallade I think is the best tier 4 on this list. That's just my opinion.
That's because you have never used Linoon before, but
I have actually used Linoon, just not in this generation.
you haven't used it well.
Wow. The shot shaded. The shot. I don't know.
You've even got things like Lycanroc Midnight. I think I used Lycanroc Midnight in GBF, and it wasn't fantastically great, but I think in limited decks, Scarf Stone Edges actually can put in a lot of work on a lot of teams.
Yeah, 100% accurate rock moves are really slept on. It's what makes the other Lycanroc so good.
Yeah, I do think, like, yeah, and Lycanroc would be nice because then you still have hazards there. Like with Gallade, you wouldn't have hazards. I think that's, yeah, Gallade wouldn't be necessarily the best fit with the dual fighting type, but yeah, I think Lycanroc could be nice because it gives you that base 82 speed. It also can be a rocker, so that still keeps the pressure off of Mew to have hazards. Like you would still have Lycanroc, Piloswine, Pex as your hazard setters, so Mew doesn't have to run hazards every week.
Mm-hmm. And hazards for this team is pretty important too, because I mean, even if when you add Lycanroc, it's still kind of a passive team, especially if Mew is defensive that week.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in a game of when I need to chip things down enough, and then I need to get Haxorus in and set up and clean everything, you know. So another thing I think this team could really benefit from is pivoting. There's not a lot. You've got Volt Switch on Magnezone, U-turn on Excelgor.
Mew as well.
Yeah, Mew could run a pivoting move. I don't know if you get U-turn on Noctowl, but I also don't see Noctowl coming to a ton of games, so...
Noctowl is a fun mon. I think it provides... Yeah, it provides really interesting support, like a utility, and also can do some damage, especially if you're like whittling things down with, like, I think that's the thing. This team I feel like is gonna be playing the long game a lot. Like this team's goal is to just kind of chip away at you slowly but surely.
And see, the thing is, I think without the momentum, this team loses the long game. Because the longer you play, the less momentum you gain, the easier it is to beat you. Because with two regenerators and no momentum, you're hard switching a lot, you know, and no way to get your regenerators in after a slow U-turn out or after a teleport out or something like that. So to me, it just seems like if they're playing the long game, they're gonna lose it more times than not.
I feel like we're kind of neglecting the offensive pressure Mew also enables.
That's fair. That's very fair. And yeah, also in the chat, they're discussing like Magnezone on this team as a magnet puller. I don't necessarily think it is. I think it's there specifically for offensive presence, like general offensive presence, and also its defensive presence, not necessarily as a magnet pull. I'm
just trying to think. I don't know. I think me personally, I also struggle with kind of the regenerator cores just because it is a pretty passive play style. And this team has rocks and a pretty good rocker in Paloswine. Mew obviously is a pretty good hazard setter. Spikes in Toxapex, or T-Spikes in Toxapex. Spikes in Excelgor. Like, they have the hazards there to pair with the Regenerator playstyle. I think another thing that might have wanted to add is a Rapid Spinner, because the same way that their spikes are hurting other people's hazards are hurting them from all the switching in and stuff. Especially when things like Magnezone don't get great recovery. You've got the Wish Passer and Aromatisse, but once Aromatisse comes in on some T-Spikes, it's kind of annoying, and you definitely want to be running Aromatherapy.
Yeah, a spinner would definitely be nice on this team, especially because like your hazard removal is Mew and Noctowl.
Yeah, and you don't want to be getting rid of your hazards once you've set them, because you don't want to have to be resetting them. And whenever you get rid of your own hazards, you're giving your opponent a chance to get a little bit more momentum on their side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so I think we can move on to the next team.
Yeah.
Big boy film.
Yes.
He doesn't have a side spam team, right? No, he doesn't. He just has the terrain for Hawlucha.
Yeah, I think he didn't want Quillfish originally. He wanted Clawitzer.
He wanted a lot of a bulkier team, because I remember him, he said he drafted Scolipede first, but he didn't want to actually have like a Scolipede HO kind of team.
Me personally, when I see Indeedee female and male on the board, I don't understand picking up Indeedee female.
Is female the one with just healing wish?
Yes.
But the other does get baton pass.
The other one also gets Trick Room.
Yeah, Trick Room, baton pass.
But I don't think that's necessarily what he was going for with this team. Like, if you look at this team, there's still like, I don't think he necessarily wants to be setting Trick Room with this team. So I get it. I think Indeedee female is the bulkier of the two, I believe. And so, because the other one's Indeedee male is faster, and Indeedee male is base 95. I don't know. I kind of like Indeedee female on this team. I think it fits. Like, it gives you a little bit more special bulk, which is nice, and it's something that's lacking.
Yes, Lambo. Feminism. True.
I don't know if his team actually wants to set psychic terrain, honestly.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Both its tier 1s are weak. Its resists are pretty lacking overall, apart from Indeedee.
Yeah, you've got Mr. Rhyme. You've got Decidueye.
You also have to look at the Double and Burden, though. Double and Burden is really nice.
Is there other terrain on the board?
But
though?
you're not bringing Slurpuff with a seed.
I hope not. I hope you're not bringing Slurpuff with Psychic Seed, but it happens. Like, people do it. I don't know why they do it, but they do. But like, you also have Lucha. Like, I will say, having used a Lucha Indeedee core in Limited, it's incredibly hard to stop. Like, late game Hawlucha runs through so many teams. So I think the fact that he has Scolipede, the fact that he has something like Flygon, he has Quillfish to set hazards and sort of help chip away at things. I mean, as well as Colossal, like, this team has a lot of good removal options. Like, it has, 3 Rapid Spinners and 2 Defoggers? Yeah, 3 Rapid Spinners and 2 Defoggers. So he has a lot of removal. He also has Spikes and T-Spikes with Scolipede. Like, he's going to be able to win the hazard game most weeks, it looks like, and basically set up sweeps set up his team so that either Flygon, Hawlucha, Slurpuff, or Scolipede can sweep. So, like, I don't know. I really like this team a lot. I
just like an attack stat over 107 and a special attack stat over 110.
Yeah, I think Flygon is running a DD kind of set a lot of the times here if he wants to hit really, really hard.
don't necessarily think that's true though, because Scolipede is there. Like Scolipede being able to come in and like set up an SD, get a speed boost off, like Sash Scolipede. Like the thing is, he can win the hazard game. So Scolipede, I feel like, is gonna be huge for this team. Like it doesn't have great attack stats, like Shade had said, but its setup options are good.
Setup options
I
are
agree
good,
though.
but what is
Because I think
Scolipede
like a
coming in on
better
that?
special breaker would be nice.
Yeah, and my thing is like, what is Scolipede coming in on that you wouldn't just bring Hawlucha in on?
Something that's weak to ground, like poison types, like Peck.
And see, at that point, why wouldn't you just bring in Flygon? You know, like I don't see what Scolipede is doing for the team necessarily.
That's fair.
Well, that's kind of what happens when you have to change your plan halfway through and Scolipede is your first mon drafted.
Yeah.
I think that's just about it, though.
Yeah, we can jump to the next team.
No, JCK's been waiting on this one.
He has.
I like the look of
Yeah,
this.
this might be my favorite team so far. Like, Hydreigon Toxtricity is a core that you just don't really switch into, and
Yeah.
I'm not happy that Clay drafted that core in Platinum, 'cause it's kind of going to be a problem. But yeah, this like he has webs, which is really nice for both of those mods.
yeah.
He has
And for
Togekiss. Yeah, like the speed tiers are reasonably solid, like nothing over 110. But again, this is a slower metagame, so I think you can get away with Roseon being your fastest mon.
Yeah, and sticky webs too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Thunder Wave from Togekiss.
I don't know how I feel about the Stoutland Hippopotas.
Yeah,
That can
it's
surprise some people, to be honest.
It'll surprise people, of course, but
It's a good low tier sand team.
yeah, budget sand was definitely a thing.
yeah.
And yes, Clay, Dusclops was in tier 4.
Hmm.
Yeah, he also has a nice trick room option with like Dusclops or Raquaneta Escavalier.
Oh yeah, he has actually a nice trick room.
And Avalugg to an extent. Like
Yo, Avalok hits.
Yeah, this team is pretty good.
Even Toxtricity at base 75 can catch some Pokemon off guard inside Trick Room.
Yeah, and room service.
Yeah.
yeah, this I do really like this team. I think its only rocker is
You've got Hippo.
Photos.
Yeah.
So but
So-
Does Apollo get rocks?
no,
Nah.
it spins, which is nice.
Yeah. I know, I don't think he needs anything but webs.
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
like
I don't think there's gonna be too much switching in on this team.
No, you really don't. Like, you don't really switch in on this team at all. Avalugg is a mon that, like, maybe could be replaced for a better, like, a rocker or, like, some spikes, T-spikes, something.
Maybe Crustle to further the Trick Room options.
You might could
That's
even add Lycanroc midday. Another Sandrush sweeper and a rocker.
Ooh. That'd be solid, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like Lambo said, but needs better rocker, removal is fine. Yeah, I think the removal on this team is good. I think, or at least it's good enough. But
Bro, there's
I
two
think-
Lycanroc forms are slept on.
Rhydon is also
Lambo, Rick loves Lycanroc. Lycanric. That is, yes. He does, in fact, love Lycanroc.
They're good. They're so good, especially in tier 4. Like I don't know how people pass up those tier 4 options.
You could change Hippo to something else and get Sandcondra 4 as well.
True. JCK said, if I was going to replace something for a rocker, it'd probably be Dusclops or Virizion.
I think you need
I-
Dusclops. Unless
I
you're
like-
changing Virizion to Cofagrigus and then changing Dusclops to something else.
Well,
Yeah, I
Profile
still
doesn't
like
get
the fast
props.
one though.
It has to be Rune.
Yeah, I like Virizion on this team. I agree, Lambo. I would say keep Virizion and maybe Avalug or like I don't know. I like Dusclops here. I really do. I think
Mhm.
Avalug is the kind of thing that I'm a little iffy on.
Because
But-
it's not like you need that physical bulk.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
A lot of the team is pretty physically bulky. You've got Eviolite Dusclops, even Eviolite Hippo to an extent has some kind of like surprise bulk behind it, but I don't think Avalug really needs to be here for that defensive bulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And at the same time, I feel like this team, outside of things like Araquanid, Kiss, Charizard, which Kiss gets recovery, isn't too hurt by hazards, and I don't think this team really needs to waste time on trying to defog hazards away or trying to spin hazards away, unless your spinner would have been Excadrill on this team, because Excadrill coming in and getting a spin off, it works offensively and as a defensive way to get rid of hazards. But I think this
Serena is that similar.
yeah,
Well,
Serena. But I think this team just does so well at keeping the pressure on your opponent's side. A lot of the times you're gonna find out that you're not really having to worry about hazards, because anyone who's taking the time to set hazards on this team, I think, is wasting a turn.
Yeah, I agree. This team has such good offensive presence that like you're giving opportunity. You're either like losing or taking significant damage on Amon, or losing Amon, or letting him set up to get rid of
The rest of your team.
your team. Yeah.
I just don't see a scenario where somebody's gonna say, I need to set rocks on this team, and it be for what cost, you know, for losing their rocker, or like he just said, for losing something in the back later. I don't see where the value is in that.
Mhm. Yeah, I completely agree that that's the case.
We ready to go shaded?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Lambo, I would set rocks, but I always would. Lambo does love his hazards. He loves his hazards and he loves his status moves.
Yeah. So, I was part of a club that wanted to draft Prim first round. So I did that.
There was a
along with
lot
half
of
the
people in
league.
there was a lot of people in that club.
Then round 2, Jirachi was open, and I didn't want people getting Jirachi Togekiss because KJ told me about that.
Yeah, I noticed Jirachi like shaded like DM'd me and he's like, should I take Jirachi here? And I was just like, honestly, I think it kind of works. Like I knew he was going Salazzle and I was just like, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
And then afterwards he told me he was also interested in Terrakion, and I was like, that's pretty good. So
My original plan was during round 2 to get Mandibuzz, but I was sniped at that. Which I feel Mandibuzz would have been a huge help to this team. Because it's very offensive, and I don't really have a pivot that isn't just natural bulk on this team, apart from maybe Sableye, but, you know, Sableye.
Yeah.
My removal is also pretty interesting. My only 2 options are Rapid Spin on Serena and Defog on Drampa, which I'm interested to try because they don't seem too good conventionally. But, well, Serena does, but Drampa not really. But both of them combined kind of beat any rocker in the format.
doesn't
Especially
Butterfree
with-
get defog? You're not going to be running heavy duty boots Butterfree?
I gotta be honest, I don't think he'll be running it that often.
Wait, that's great. Clay just said in the chat, does Butterfree get defog?
Yeah.
Boots defog free. Yeah, I think.
Um,
Yeah.
That's technically an option if I have to deal with a lot of hazards, but yeah, I think Drampa and Serena can offensively pressure Stealth Rock setters, and then be able to just remove those hazards afterwards for free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this might be one team I would like a little bit better hazard removal on.
Yeah, I really wish I had Mandibuzz, but
Because you got to look, you've got Golisopod, Mamoswine, Pikachu ain't coming in on hazards too many times. Salazzle, you got T-Spikes would really hurt Prim, which you have the Absorber and Salazzle, but if that's gone and they set up like a late game T-Spike, then
I would not be worried about a late game T-Spike for Primarina. Usually the early game T-Spikes are.
and even still, early game T-Spikes does forces you into a play of, okay, they know I have to get Salazzle in before I get Prim in, you know?
That's fair.
It's just kind of the fact of whenever they do set something, it puts you into a hole of if I'm defogging, it's with Butterfree or Drampa. I'm having to run Rapid Spin on Serena a lot of the times because.
But I think that's fine.
I think you might be a little disappointed because Serena already has 4 move slot syndrome. Forcing yourself to run Rapid Spin on it every week is bad. Plus, it's one of your only pivoting Pokemon, so you're gonna like running U-turn on it a lot too, which takes up 2 of your move slots. And then you have a stab move and a coverage move, and to me, it's just not great. You know, forcing yourself into that role.
Look at the rest of this
When
team.
are you ever going to get rocked up against this team?
That's also a point to be honest.
The rest of this team just like hits so hard. You don't really need Serena to be offensive. That's the thing.
Like, I don't really see many times where people can hazard stack against me and not just lose the game with one mon that's in.
That's the thing. I don't think they need to hazard stack against you per se. I think they just need rocks, or they just need a T-Spike or whatever. Like, they don't need to sit there and make sure they get every hazard up. They need to catch you on a switch and set rocks, or they need to just set rocks at the beginning of the game on turn 1. And it's like, what are you really gonna do about it?
I mean, yeah, but you know, the same to be said. Like, I mean, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
It's just I'm imagining that on most of my mons, like I'm running boots on Salazzle like 100% of the time, pretty much, if I need to.
That's also not great. I think the only reason I'm saying this is I think forcing your Pokemon into these certain roles or into these certain items just isn't the best for this team. Because whenever your team starts getting predictable with a team as offensive as this, people will start being able to counter it a lot easier. I think with this team, I like the idea of it being able, because this team has the potential to be very, very versatile. You've got things like Jirachi, Prim, 2 very versatile mons. A Salazzle can be offensive, can be subtoxic, whatever. Mammo, Sash Lead, Banded, Scarf, same with Terrakion. You've got the Pikachu, Sableye. Like, this team has the potential to be so versatile, and forcing certain Pokemons into certain roles isn't helping it in that way.
I don't really think I am. I don't think I need to force it into that role a lot of the time.
I don't know. I'm interested to see how it goes out, but I think, me personally, one of the things I'd prioritize on your side of the field is definitely some kind of hazard. And
Yeah.
the bulkier teams, which we haven't seen a lot of bulkier teams in the draft so far, but like you said before, offense, one of offense's weakness is trying to deal with the bulkier teams, but I think the bulkier teams are definitely going to give you a problem.
I think I can braid for bulkier teams. I think I have mons that are so strong at braiding they can go through those types of teams.
Yeah, I mean, Lambo mentioned dropping Pikachu for Drifblim, but
All right. Well, I mean,
that's probably Ash would never get rid of his Pikachu. So.
Look, I'm releasing Butterfree mid-season. I'll get Drifblim then. No, Ash never had Drifblim.
Oh, that's good. All right. I mean, again, this is a very good team. I don't necessarily agree with the fact that it needs more removal. I think it would be nice, but I think it's going to put on so much offensive pressure that you're not going to necessarily be able to just freely click hazards, because you're just like you click hazards and you're risking Jirachi subbing on you, you're risking Primarina subbing on you, and once you get into that situation where they can sort of like start setting up, that's gonna be pretty scary.
And I have taunt on a lot of mons anyway.
That is also true.
I have taunt on okay, never mind, Pikachu does not get taunt. Yeah.
Anyway, we can go to the next team. This is Rez's team. And so one thing I do want to apologize to Rez, because there was like a mishap with him leaving picks but then backing out on the pick and then really wanting the pick, and I screwed that up and then it got sniped. But I think it actually helped him a little more than I first thought it would, because we kind of sat down and went through the team, and he had like a weird sun core, and it was like, I don't know. It didn't like Shaded. You looked at the team as well. It didn't really fit all that well.
So I said specifically, why not go electric terrain instead? Because it's a much smaller, easier core to fit, and it kind of helped his higher tiers function.
Yeah, and then like scooping, he had Bisharp at one point, and then we were like, oh, let's scoop up Persian Alola, and I think this team got significantly better with those changes. Like the as a few people said in the chat, the Fairy Dragon Steel Core is probably one of the best that you could get in
realistically
in limited decks. Like Rotom Fan is nice for utility. That might be one of the only things that I'm a little iffy on this team, is the fact that its removal is Rotom Fan and Sandslash, but this is another team that's going to hit incredibly hard, and there's going to be very few switch-ins to it.
I think this team specifically, like I've seen all the teams, even the ones after this, I think this team specifically is my favorite team in this draft.
Yeah, I
really like the electric terrain, to be honest.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the electric terrain is just like it's just like kind of an afterthought on this team. Like I think the biggest, like the Fairy Dragon Steel Core is, you look at this team and that's going to be the first thing you have to prep for, is the Fairy Dragon Steel Core. Yeah. Like I mean, Como is going to put on a tremendous amount of pressure. Sylveon is going to just be really annoying to deal with. Bronzong also going to be really annoying to deal with. And like both Sylveon and Bronzong can have like offensive aspects too. So
something a little weird, but something I like is Trick Room with Pincurchin on Bronzong. Pincurchin hits just about as hard as Raichu.
But think about this, being able to like set Trick Room, get Pincurchin in, and then like last turn of Trick Room, click Memento, and then you get Raichu in with a couple of turns of terrain left.
Yeah,
like that's something that is really, really good. And having defensive options like Vileplume and Quag, like you completely deter other setup with Quag. Like Vileplume's gonna be able to do fairly well against anything that's trying to set up, or that's physical, because it's going to be able to click Strength Sap and just be annoying, because that's what Vileplume does. And I think one of the things that is sort of a little underrated here is Flareon as a status absorber, because having used Como in 2 leagues now, the one thing people always want to do is burn or poison Como. And that is just, it puts Como on a timer or just cripples it. And I think when you have something that can switch in on the Toxics or switch in on the potential Will-O-Wisps or anything like that and get status and get or get a Flash Fire boost, like that's going to be really, really huge.
And Flareon is kind of, it's a deceptively bulky Pokemon. Like I think Flareon can fit a a bulkier role in a lot of teams if it does want to come flash fire or something.
I feel
Yeah,
like
especially as a
normally-
special wall.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't think you can do anything really physically well. But you know, you have Komoa, you have Bronzong, so
Yeah, and even Vileplume with strengths up.
and the Sire himself.
Yeah, I like this team a lot, and we've talked about it with Rez before. I think it was the speed tiers that were kind of hurting a
They're
little bit,
kind of.
but
Well, he also had Torkoal. He had Torkoal with Bronzong, and it didn't necessarily, like previously, it didn't necessarily feel smooth.
Yeah, he goes 110 to I think 86 here. And then he goes 85. And then he goes down to 65. And then to 60. And then, yeah.
Lambo does make a good point. With the electric spam on this team, I think you could get better mons to take care of grounds and grasses. Yeah, that's definitely fair. I think originally he didn't have a fire type after the changes, and that's why we were talking about like that's why he picked up Flareon, because Flareon was a good.
like he was trying to add a Sun core to this team. I think he just needed to add a Rain core to this team. Even without a Rain Sweeper, adding Pelipper onto this team is kind of scary. I don't know if he has the room for it. He would have to drop Quag. I think he'd have to drop Quag for something. But he only has one tier 1.
He'd have to drop Quag, and he'd have to drop another tier 3.
Would he have to drop his other tier 3? If he picked up, he would drop Quag.
He'd have to drop, like, the points wouldn't work out. He'd have to drop Quag, and then, or he'd have to drop 5. He'd have to drop a tier 3 or a tier 4.
Even Politoed though, like, I think just adding that little bit of rain to the team, or having the option to bring with things like Bronzong, bring with Raichu, bring with Vileplume, defensively helps out the team, offensively helps out the team, even though he doesn't have a sweeper, puts pressure on ground types like Lambo's saying.
Yeah, Lambo, that's exactly what it would be. It would be Pelipper. He would have to drop either a tier 4 and downgrade to a tier 5.
Yeah, and I think, isn't Politoed tier 3?
It is.
So you would just swap those two. And you've got the ground type in Sandslash, which, I mean, isn't the greatest defensive ground type, but at the same time, you've always got the possibility of Lightning Rod Pincursion. And I don't know, I kind of like even without the Rain Sweeper, adding that little bit of rain in there. I mean, yeah, you could even add, isn't Golduck tier 5?
Golduck's taken.
Oh yeah, true. We saw Golduck on the team.
Yeah, we saw Golduck on a previous team, yeah.
Hey, Beartic. Slush Rush Beartic though.
Slush Rush?
You mean?
I mean, Swim Beartic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think many teams have an answer to a well-played Beartic, but... you know. So that's just about it then.
Next team.
Yeah. Richmond Raikus.
This team is super offensive.
Yeah.
Oh, it has more bulk than, I guess, you would expect on very first glance.
Yeah.
Everyone told me this guy wasn't Australian, but I don't believe them.
Everyone told me Rich was cool, but I don't believe them.
Ooh. All right, so how are we feeling about this team? It's interesting.
I liked how in his draft he saved Cinderace until the very last pick.
I think that was a solid plan. I really like Gyarados in Limited.
Yeah.
More special attackers, or like a better special attacker, to be honest.
Dragalge?
Dragalge's good, but like
Alazan with 100?
That's cap. Like a good special wall breaker would be nice.
Jolteon suffers without it suffers without weather, and it suffers without hidden power. Like its coverage isn't great, but it still hits pretty hard. And the thing with Jolteon, and even in UGL I found out is you can run modest Jolteon most weeks. So you're just adding onto the fact of it hitting pretty hard, and this team can deal with ground types pretty well, it seems. So you get rid of those and Jolteon goes to work late game. I've really enjoyed Quick Beat Jolteon because it does allow you to go modest, allows you to outspeed anything that's trying to be scarfed and sweep you. There's always the option of Volt Absorb for this team. I don't know with Palossand how much you need that.
I think you still
Dragalge.
potentially need it for Gyarados.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's
what I'm
still a
saying.
nice option to have.
Yeah, it is, but like between Dragalge being the special wall that it is and having Palossand as the immunity, I think this team could get away with running Quick Feet at least half of the games. And there's not a ton of electric types that are scary in this format anyways, so
That's true. Oh, man, I do think, yeah, Zank had a good point about the special breaker, and I think Lambo's point about not having a weather setter for Jolteon is also very valid.
Yeah.
this is another team that Pelipper might be good on.
I was gonna say the obvious swap of Pelipper
for
in for
Savali.
Gyarados could be.
I mean, even for Savali though, Gyarados inside Rain gets up a DD and waterfalls things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like Savali here. I think, or I would like Savali in that scenario.
Oh yeah, maybe swap Savali for Toxtricity or.
Yeah, because
Well,
then you can run
Toxtricity's
Specs
taken.
Pelipper and not just have to use his defog.
Man,
Speaking of,
I hate Cobalion. Like everybody knows that, but I think it's just such a bad mon. Even in limited for tier 2, like it's so bad. It's a nice speed tier. It gets you rocks. It gets you momentum. Like it has full twitch for momentum, but Cobalion's not hitting hard on either side.
it's a
Like,
nice speed tier, but it's a necessary speed tier.
I love how in every league we've seen the Mr. Mimes and Mr. Rhymes drafted.
that's so true.
It's sometimes people just want that lower tier spinner because otherwise your defogger is Silvally every week.
Mhm. Which I still think in most cases your defogger on this team is Silvally like your hazard removal is Silvally every
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
And that would be
Damn.
something where I could see Gyarados being switched out for Pelipper. Gives you a second defog option. Gives you a special wall breaker, but it would just be so hard for me to get rid of Gyarados. Like, Gyarados is such a good Pokemon.
Yes, another situation of people saying cancel KJ for his opinion on something, but then they dropped it in the previous league. Lambo, you dropped Cobalion in season 3. I wanted to see you do work with it. This is like grapple locked with Zank all over again.
Wait.
I agree, Cobalion is a bad tier 2, but
Wait, I thought Tago dropped it. I thought Lambo dropped it. My bad. You're right. Tago dropped Cobalion because it's a bad mon. See? Trust Tago's opinion. It's bad. See? It sucked. Yep.
I feel like
That
it's such a
is-
weird speed tier for what it is.
I don't know. I appreciate the speed
Oh,
tier
okay, Lambo
as
did-
the hyper
okay, I didn't-
offense lead.
I didn't misremember. Lambo did drop it too. Lambo, you know what you should do? You should pick up Cobalion from Mamoswine. That's what you should do. Like drop Mamoswine, scoop up Cobalion.
Oh, entirely equal Pokemon, yeah.
And Tago, I think he grabbed it after you.
Twice.
Yeah, exactly. It got dropped twice. Yeah, because Tago did draft it. He dropped it, and then Lambo picked it up and dropped it in like less than a week.
Imagine how
special
hurt
type of
Cobalion was
Pokemon.
that season.
It's like Pokerus. You have it for a day and then it's gone.
Exactly.
Yeah, he does not need that as another rocker. I feel like Palossand and Lycan Rock are good enough.
Yeah. No, I know.
His
I know,
Steel
Lambo. I'm
Bow.
just giving you crap.
Yeah, like it fits like 2 typings that he doesn't have. But
It
I'm pretty
does.
sure Lucario is open on the board.
Yeah.
I kind of like Lucario on this team with extreme speed.
Mm.
And Lucario fits a nice speed tier for this team too.
Yeah, priority would help. It does have a lot of priority as is, but
That's it. It's got Sucker Punch.
Lightning
Suck.
Rock and Thwacky.
Yeah.
Excel Rock, aggressive idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a solid option. This team, I feel like this team is gonna give people problems.
Mm.
looks like
Especially if your electric isn't solid, which not many people's are.
He's got one of the more solid electric types in the
Yeah,
format.
I'm pretty sure the only other dude electric we've seen so far is Pikachu.
And that was a
Because Ash
Rotom,
has
that was a
that
Rotom fan, I think.
Oh, you're right. If he's carrying a balloon, it can do work to his team.
True.
what is happening in the chat right now. Lambo says he's getting Kabalion on every DTT team. All right, you heard it here first. You don't want to be on
Oh,
Lambo's
no.
DTT team.
Oh, it's time.
Lambo's a bad
Wait,
coach.
Wait, demote me to a player so I can get Cabalia.
I'm disappointed in both of you.
Lambo is a great player, a great leader, but his takes on Kabalion, I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like Cabalion gets way too much hate. Like, I know it's not the best, but I feel like you hate on it way too much.
I
The
don't.
reason, in all, in all seriousness, though, I don't hate on it because it's a absolutely terrible mon. I hate on it because it's always tier 2.
Yeah.
And I think it's just not tier 2 value.
It's the same
that's
reason.
really why.
There's a Pokemon that Lambo does that too. What Pokemon is it?
Mandibuzz. Lambo was hating on Mandibuzz and Gudra in that deck.
No, it's not Lambo. It's Clay with Ice Cube. Clay hates Ice Cube with a passion just because it's always tier 4. And like that's the same thing with Cabalion. Like I just don't think Cabalion is a tier 2 Pokemon.
I mean, I feel like they're entirely different things, but yeah.
No,
Like
I agree with Clay with what Clay said.
Yeah, it doesn't
The main
resist
problem with
fairy.
Cabalion.
Like, I know I have Lucario, but to me Cabalion fits. Cabalion could fit a steel type role a little bit outside of the fact that it doesn't resist fairy. But it does give it a neutral psychic type interaction. I just don't like when fighting types are weak to fighting types.
Yeah, I understand that, and I don't know. I don't want my steel
it can
type
just
to be.
Volt Switch out. There's no fighting ground type. And there's no fighting electric either, so there's no Volt Absorb.
Man, fighting electric type is gonna be so.
Wait a sec.
Yeah.
Oh man, wait, Ash had a Meltan at one point, right?
It did. He
Bye
did.
bye Butterfree, hello Meltan.
Alright, we ready to move on?
Here we have stats for a team again because this match has already happened this week.
Mm-hmm.
Aphis is a player of many talents.
Yes, my favorite thing about Aphis's teams are always his nicknames. His nicknames are absolute gold. If you can watch Aphis's games, like they're always close, like they're always like fun close games, and his nicknames are just great. So
Sometimes I feel like he
Mr.
does that on purpose.
You have enormous Schlong for Keldeo, but Schlong was spelled no, enormous was spelled wrong.
Bro.
that is, yeah.
You had
Never forget.
This man's
never
spiky.
forget Glass Joe.
Yeah, you had Bob the Heatran. Yeah, no, but
Aaron-
let's not get too off track.
Like Venus tier 2 without a sunset, to be honest.
I agree. I think Venusaur tier 2 without Sun is a little strange.
yeah. I don't know. I kind of I look at the team and I don't really know what to say. It's one of those teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think Keldeo is going to be a lot of fun, and I mean, he did well with it in his first game. I think Keldeo is going to be a mon that he's going to have a good time with.
As long as he's running Secret Sword, yeah.
And I mean, Obstagoon hits incredibly hard. There's the webs option with Orbeetle, which is nice, although I don't necessarily love Orbeetle as a mon in general.
I love the Mon, but I don't love it as a Mon in tier 3. I
I
kind
feel
of
like
like
Orbeetle in tier 3 is fine, I think.
I kind of like to sort of water spam with Keldeo and Arctivish under webs, though. I feel like maybe Scarf, Arctivish there, and then Specs, Keldeo. Just kind of
yeah, I can
breaks
see
a
that.
lot of teams down.
Imagine if he does Wigglytuff get Trick Room?
Or Beetle gets Trick Room.
Or Beetle would be the Trick Roomer, yeah. Like just thinking about a couple of these Pokemon inside Trick Room opens up, like he sets Trick Room, gets like a Bandit Arctivish or Rhyperior in, deals a ton of damage to the opponent's team, and then Obstacle Keldeo come in later and clean things up.
Mm-hmm.
I also actually kind of liked webs with Turtonator, because I think at +2 with webs, Turtonator can actually start out speeding stuff. It's kind of similar to Torkoal in that regard.
Yeah, I think that's
Where-
underrated.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about Arctivish on this team, though.
It's
I don't
interesting.
necessarily.
I think it's interesting.
I mean, I like Lantern as the tier 4, like water that's also an electric immunity, and could be a water immunity. I really do. I don't know. Ninjask and Arctivish are the mons that kind of stick out here to me.
Yeah. When I saw his team originally, I thought, what did I think his last two picks were? I thought they were going to be Haunter and something else. Because I thought the team kind of wanted one of those. Yeah, it was Haunter and a tier 4. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I really would have liked Sun on this team, so like Venusaur can hit harder and be faster because like he doesn't have many good fast ones. Like only Keldeo really.
Both setters are still on the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think
And I think Keldeo just spamming a fighting move is fine. It's not a water type that absolutely requires its water move as much as it likes to spam it.
I'm pretty sure he picked up 3 kills with Hydro Pump specific. Or no, I think he got I
No,
think
it was Hydro Pump.
Yeah, he hit like 5 Hydro Pumps.
One of the Hydro Pumps was on like a 12 HP mon.
Miss me ever using Hydro Pump that many times in a match. I will miss at least 3 of them.
Yeah. I was really scared later on that he clicked Hydro Pump like on something he did Sacred Sword and then he'd miss. Not Sacred Seed for it. I was also scared that he'd lost to Hitmontop. And he had. But, well, you know what? That's a spoiler, so I won't say anything.
Yeah. If you haven't watched this game, go check it out. It was definitely an interesting... It was a good game, interesting finish.
Interesting.
Yes, we'll call it interesting.
Alright.
But yeah, I mean, I think the team definitely has some holes, but I think it's a solid team. Like
Yeah.
I think you can definitely play around some of the.
I
some of the
really
holes.
liked Scum here a lot.
Mhm. I agree.
It's
Why?
very, very just solid removal option that he definitely needed. And it also gives him a lot of hazards which Keldeo and a lot of his team can abuse afterwards.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Keldeo picks up a lot of the you get hazards up with Scarm, and Keldeo picks up a lot of the KOs that it doesn't necessarily always grab.
Alright, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
Next we got Bobo.
Oh, this team is good. It has Scyther again. Bodo Barbarian has picked up Scyther twice now.
I love how Bobo said, I am not getting 6-0'd by Steelix again.
Yeah, he's got PZ.
Damn, you gotta do my boy like that on stream. That's messed up.
I think it's funny.
That's messed up. Yeah, no,
Honestly, if this team didn't have Steelix might give this team a hard time.
Yeah.
I think steel types in general would give, like, bulkier steel types in general would have given this team a hard time.
Without Steelix itself.
Steelix, yeah.
Steelix is the coolest steel type though, because it has steel in its name, so automatically it is a little stronger.
If only that was how that worked.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think this team, I mean, the speed tiers are very, very solid. Outside of the, like, 90 to... I mean, even 90 to 76 isn't terrible. I think it's got just crazy offensive presence with Zeraora, Incineroar at times, Starmie, Porygon Z is going to be, I think, absolutely for this team.
Yeah.
I like Hitmonchan in tier 4. I think Hitmonchan can put in a lot of work as a tier 4. Drud, I think, is also pretty good for this team. It gives good rocks, gives glare, it gives a sheer force option if you need it. The one thing I don't like is Ludicolo. I don't understand Ludicolo in that tier 4 slot.
It seems like it was just like that was the grass type that he could grab.
Yeah.
That's kind of what that feels like.
But like I said, Lilligant is open in that slot. Like in tier 4.
I think we over-tiered Lilligant. I feel like Lilligant.
Yeah, like you're saying moving stuff about Lilligant, like come on.
Yeah,
Lilligant
but
has
Ludicolo without rain is just not good to me.
I think Ludicolo without rain is better than Lilligant.
At least Lilligant can like Sleep Powder, Quiver Dance. It gets Pollen
I was just about
Puff.
to say, Rick is overrating Sleep because he hates it so much.
Yeah, like
What does I mean? Tell me, what does Ludicolo do outside of rain?
It can set its own rain. It's fine.
It can set its own rain. It also still can
hit
sub Leech Seed, hit things like. It can still be really annoying.
And it has moves like Fake Out. I believe it also has Knockoff.
It does get Fake Out. Almost 100% sure it gets Knockoff as well.
Lilligant does get Pollen Puff.
Lilligant gets Pollen Puff. I don't know if it gets Gleam. I don't think it does.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure its coverage is Grass, Bug, and Normal.
Yeah, it does not get D-Gleam, does not get anything else.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, Lilligant is bad. I think it just accidentally snuck into.
And then Rick's saying this as if it's like some steal and it should be in tier 2 because he doesn't know.
I just think it's better than. I don't like Ludicolo. I don't know why Ludicolo. Like I don't.
Because you're racist.
I don't see.
Tago, Bellossom is significantly better than Lilligant.
I don't see the value of Ludicolo in tier 4 without a rain setter. Like having to waste a move slot to set rain, which means you're also wasting an item because you can't be choiced, makes Ludicolo bad. I don't know how else to put it.
I think setting your own rain is fine. Mons like Kingdra in the past have been able to set their own rain and go in with it.
Kingdra also doesn't have a 90 base special attack.
Yeah, it has 95. It's barely better.
And a better move pool. Like its moves are also a lot stronger. You get Hydro Pump on Ludicolo. That's it. Like Kingdra gets Draco, Hydro Pump, Hurricane. Like.
Well, now it gets Hurricane, but I'm talking about Gen 4 kind of Kingdra sets.
I also didn't like Kingdra setting it on its own rain then. I don't see the value of Ludicolo wasting an item slot to set rain for itself to get boosts on Hydro Pump.
Do you say waste an item?
Yeah, what item are you gonna run if you're not choiced? If you're not choice specs, or even like I guess you could be Life Orb, but
why wouldn't you be Life Orb?
You're not hitting that hard. I just don't see where Ludicolo is hitting that hard, especially when you're outside of rain.
Alright, well, I mean, I think you're wrong.
I don't like it, but I don't hate it as much as Rick. Rick is like
I think it could. My thing is, I think a better grass type could have been taken somewhere else. That's my only point in saying this.
Fine, I'll agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like this team. I think removal options are very, very solid with Weezing,
Momentum
Starmie,
is good.
Scyther, Hitmonchan. I think he can set rocks, he can set T-spikes. And I think, I think this is going to be a very hard team to prep for and a very hard team to play against.
Maybe Ferroseed if Ludicolo start.
I think he had Ferroseed and he dropped it. For Ludicolo. I think he picked up Steelix and like there were definitely transactions to this team.
I remember there was like 2 he made where he got the same types, but
yeah, he dropped Ferroseed and Sandaconda for Steelix and Ludicolo in Grace Period.
Yeah.
Also, the Cobalion team, CJ's team, he dropped Lucario for Cobalion. That's another thing to note.
Well, I think he's got to try it out first.
Yeah, I don't know. I like this team. I like this team a lot. This is one of my favorite teams so far.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, shall we move to the next team?
Yes.
We got the triple spin combo.
Yeah, so this is the team that played against Avis's team. And I just want to, he got the OG Sandsetter. The disrespect that T targets is just too much.
I might send a bit of hate his way because this was the only snipe I had, but I don't know why he needs Mandibuzz when he has Hitmontop as a rapid spinner, Delmise as a rapid spinner, Extrial as a rapid spinner. Come on, I wanted that.
Yeah, I think Mandibuzz, the placement of Mandibuzz on this team is a little interesting. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I like it. It's an overcoat mon, it's a ground immune mon.
Clearly the overcoat was the appeal, but I mean,
it forces your spinners to not have to run spin. Because if you're already running Swords Dance on Excadrill, then you don't want to be running Rapid Spin unless you just don't need any other coverage other than Ground and Steel. Mandibuzz is also a Pokemon that, as long as it's not getting flinched by Excadrill, can kind of deal with Excadrill. So taking it is, to me, a pretty good swap there. I don't like the fact that his flying type doesn't resist fighting though.
He just doesn't, his fighting resists Rapidash and then Ghosts.
Yeah.
And Beheeyem.
I really like this team. I think this team is really solid actually.
I do like this team, I just wish he had better fighting resist.
Man, Delmise and T-Tar are actually, that's a really good pairing. Now thinking about that. Delmise comes in on almost everything T-Tar doesn't want to take.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
I also might have wanted a bulkier water as a good water resist for a sand team.
And even a steel resist.
I don't know how I feel about Sneasel on this team. It bridges the gap between Rabombi, Rapidash.
I don't know if that gap is essential to fill.
Exactly. I think that could be...
I think I like it, to be honest. Because it also can finish up mons with Ice Shroud and shit.
Yeah, I mean, Sneasel's not too bad. I think, and they're saying in the chat that this team has a lot of fighting resist. I do want to say, to be fair, even though Rabombi and Rapidash 4 times resist fighting, a lot of fighting types get coverage for those, and if those switches become too predictable, they can go for that coverage move. And how many fighting moves are those two Pokemon really taking? The same with Chandelure and Delmise. Almost, I think every fighting type gets knockoff. So, don't really want to switch those into a knockoff, but I don't know, I think
it can be a problem for this team. I can see that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the only thing that I'm harping on is Sneasel. Sneasel just doesn't fit, in my opinion.
I do think the lack of steel resists. You've got Excadrill, you've got Chandelure. Does that fire resist steel and Clawitzer?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, actually, I don't know about Clawitzer.
Water definitely resists steel. I know that, but I don't know. I think spamming steel type moves against this team might be a little beneficial.
Maybe. Yeah, it feels like the mons that he wants as his mons that can resist the hits he doesn't want to take aren't mons that want to take hits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And see, Shandy and Excadrill are steel resist, but I can see where Excadrill comes in on those steel moves, and Chandelure has Flame Body, but it's just I don't like that his...
I don't think there's that big of a steel issue here.
I don't know, you hit Mandibuzz neutrally, Rabombi, Delmise neutrally, you hit Hitmontop neutrally, you hit Tyranitar neutrally, Rapidash for super effective, Sneasel for super effective, and Beheeyem neutrally.
Alright, now consider what steel types are in the format, considering Scizor is undrafted, Lucario is undrafted.
I mean, that doesn't stop people from picking them up, though. Like, I'm just saying, in
Right.
draft, I don't, like, in the plan.
I'm gonna throw this out there. What about tier 4 Weezing instead of Sneasel?
Oh, I like that a lot. Wait, regular Weezing, right? With
Regular
two spikes?
Weezing. Tier 4
Yeah,
regular Weezing.
I like
Those
that. I
old
like that.
toxic spikes and 3 spinners to keep them up.
I think regular Weezing makes this team like this is definitely one of the best teams, but I think regular Weezing for Sneasel makes this team the best team.
Yeah, T
My
Spikes is
opinion.
so good with sand and shit. Yeah.
Hey, get that
Yeah, I
like
wall
that.
zone thing out of there, Rick.
Wait, what happened?
Your past videos got shown on stream.
My past videos.
I don't know.
What's happening? Oh, my... I don't
It's
know.
done now, but
I agree with Lambo. Everything like tier 3 and up, and even some of the tier 4s. I like the tier 4s for the most part. I think it falls off with. I think Primal pointed out in the chat that like Beheeyem with Clawitzer is an interesting, and Delmise is an interesting Trick Room core. Yes, but it's also Beheeyem. I don't know how I feel about Beheeyem.
Yeah.
hey, it's hard. It has analytics.
But I think this team, like, again, I'm harping on it, but Sneasel is the mon that like you already have 2 dark types. Like you already have a dark type that's 4x weak to fighting. So I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah, I
shall we
kinda
go
like-
to the Good.
Last
Sorry.
team.
I kind of like Duosion more, to be honest, but I'm biased. Like, I feel Duosion is like a knockoff, like, Magnet, but I don't know, I really like Duosion for some reason. With Overcoat too, and Regenerator.
I mean, why run Overcoat when you have Magic Guard? But
Oh, you're right.
yeah.
I mean, you become
Hey,
immune to
I'm
sleep
immune
powder.
immunity to sleep powder.
You always gotta have a good sleep immunity.
But he already has Mandibuzz.
Yeah, but he could have
This is
2.
Rich, I think you need to go on, like, I don't know. You just need some type of sleep meditation.
Oh, NyQuil.
Because you're complaining about sleep way too much.
It's a meme. I don't actually hate sleep as much as what it seems like I do.
Oh, what?
I know.
Oh no.
Wow, this team is
High
Looking at
team,
this team, I
95.
do not like this team a lot.
I'm not a fan of this team either.
Those speed tiers are not the way.
Nothing at or over 100.
there's a lot of things on this team that are really scary.
He
Like-
did get
Yeah.
left Torv at the wheel.
Clef Core with Darmanitan is kind of nuts.
He got the Sand Torv with Zolt, Jigglypuff.
I'll say it every time I see Dracozolt or Dracovish on a sand team. I don't like those Pokemon as sand sweepers.
I don't either.
I think Dracozolt can be a sand sweeper.
I think Dracozolt is better at it than Dracovish, but I still don't think it's good.
Yeah.
Because it still only has a base 100 attack, and how does it boost its attack?
It
Does it? Yeah, it doesn't.
No, the thing is, Dracozolt relies on, it's going to rely on Bolt Beak a lot, and it's going to rely on other chip. Like, that's just what it comes down
But
to.
Boltbeak's a bad move to be relying on because it's walled by the ground types, and Dracozolt can't really hit ground types other than Dragon Claw. So if you're running Banded and you get locked in a Boltbeak, this team already has a hard enough time with ground types. You
And if
don't
it
want to
chooses
be
to go
adding
for an
more.
outrage, that's even worse because all of a sudden you might be laying in something like Prim.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the lack of I don't want to hate on Kingler, but the lack of a good water type.
Yeah. Like his team, like it's not really a Trick Room team, but like maybe if he had a couple good setters, it could function. But then he just has Oranguru.
Yeah, Oranguru is like a very like subpar mon, I think.
His team is extremely fighting weak. He has one
Yeah.
resist, which is left.
The fact that his poison type doesn't resist it is bad.
And his flying doesn't resist it, and his psychic doesn't resist it,
And his bug doesn't resist it. Like, all the things that should be resisting it don't resist it.
Well, I'm saying I might have a decent fighting type.
Yeah, he does play Shaded week 1.
Yeah.
That would be nice, to be honest.
I think this is a, like, I don't know. It's a poorly built sand team. I think.
I think like some mons are just randomly put there.
Yeah.
I feel like it shouldn't be a sand team.
Yeah, exactly. I think Gigalith needs to go.
I think it's so.
It has
it's
good
so
mons.
interesting, too, 'cause- yeah, it has good mons, but they don't synergize together at all. And
Like Left Corv is super good and synergistic.
Yeah.
and
from
Darmanitan on
there.
that team is like,
Like Darm and Sand, like it kills itself
Yeah,
enough.
Darm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're
Imagine
putting.
coming in, taking rocks, taking sand, using
Oh,
levers
no.
and dying.
yeah, I don't know. I really like Clef Corv Darm as a start. Like,
I think-
Darmanitan is going to be hitting all of the steel types that those two mons aren't necessarily going to be dealing with. And then after that, it kind of goes downhill.
I feel like if you use like all of your transactions at once, there would be mons on this team you could keep. I think
Mm-hmm.
something like maybe Stun Tank if your team eventually doesn't have enough removal, or Kingler, because I mean I think Kingler's pretty good. And then Umbron's always a really good tier 3. I think
Yeah.
like there's a way
Gigalith,
there's a way he
Drigazol,
could
Gigalith,
fix his team.
Frostmoth. Even Oranguru as a low tier like special, just a low tier bulky mon, like a special wall.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It gives you the trick room option, but I think
It enables
Drigazol,
us to be more
Gigalith.
offensive.
yeah, I think Drigazol, Gigalith, Frostmoth, and probably Skunk Tank are things I would
Yeah.
get rid of. Like, I just think there's so much better value in tier 2, and if you don't have Drill with Gigalith, I feel like
Gigalith isn't yeah.
you could do better.
Like, I feel like he took Skuntank just because he needed another defogger, but Weezing is another Pokemon for this
Regular
team.
Weezing does not get defog.
Yeah, I know it doesn't. That's
Oh.
what I'm saying. I think he only took Skuntank because of defog. But
Sacrificing
sacrificing that for regular Weezing, I think helps this team more than putting Skuntank on this team.
Yeah, regular Weezing would be a super good fighting resist, and
But then
toxic
you
fight.
have
And a
then you
Levitator.
have Corv at base 67, Oranguru at base 60,
Clef
Frostmoth
is
at base 65, Umbreon at base 65, Clef at base 60, and
Yeah,
Weezing
well,
at base 60.
His speed tiers are botched anyways. I'm like,
But
yeah.
that would be 6 mons at base in between base 60 and 70. That would be so bad.
like
I don't know if Weezing.
That's
I don't know if
already what the
Weezing's the
team
move.
is.
his speed is Dracozolt and Sand, but that doesn't scare me. I look at this team and just think I'm scared of Darm offensively, and that's kind of it.
I might
Yeah.
be the next closest mon to be afraid of might be Corv.
Or
Offensively.
like Calm Mind Clef is a thing, but I don't know. I just this
yeah.
team isn't doing it for me.
Yeah, I feel like Clefable, Corviknight, and Darmanitan needs to carry this team.
They will carry this team, I think. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like bringing sand is, I don't know.
I would.
Yeah,
I think how many transactions did we get? 5.
5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5.
I think they might need to keep Clef, Corv, Darm, keep Umbreon.
I say
think
keep
Blossom.
Kingler and Blossom.
Yeah, Kingler and Blossom work. I think.
I think everything else needs to go through a revamp.
The ringer.
Is this the doc where Vaporeon's still on the board? Yeah,
Yeah,
Vaporeon's still
is
there in
on
tier
the
2.
board.
If you wanna.
But at the same time,
Yeah,
like,
they're
I
Kingler.
don't know. Rotom actually, I think would be really good on this team.
Ooh,
Like-
yeah. And I think as a grass type, it functions a lot differently from Blossom.
Exactly. And honestly, you could get rid of Bellossom if you want to go Rotom. Like, that's the thing. You could say, okay, I'm gonna get rid of Dracozolt, Gigalith, Skuntank, Frostmoth, Bellossom, and pick up Rotom in tier 2 and just start rebuilding your team that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see some of these teams used. That's for sure. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like I said, you got the first matchup against Team Shaded.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound cocky at all, but it wasn't too difficult to build against that team.
No.
Yikes. All right. Well, on that note, let's transition into sort of wrapping this up. But all right, everybody, what do you think your favorite teams
Mine.
are? that was not expected. Definitely did not expect you to say that.
JCK, I think, is a top 3 team. Rez is my favorite team. I don't know if it's the best, but it's my favorite.
Okay, that's fair.
I think JCK's is probably the best.
Yeah, I think JCK's.
Yeah.
Looking back at it, I think JCK's is the best. I would put. I don't know. I'm having a difficult time with Shaded and Rez because they both have the holes, but they both also have really, really good synergies. I think a team that might be slept on a little bit is CJ's. I think it's definitely a top 4 team, and then Shaded and Rez are between 2 and 3. I can't really put one over the other, I don't think, but that would be my top 4.
I also think JCK's team is the best. I think Shaded and the Memphis Magmar team, the Sand team, is probably that's a good
team.
Are probably my top 3, with Rez's team coming in right after that.
Yeah, I forgot about Memphis. That is a good team.
And I mean, Bobo's team is also really good. I like Bobo's team too.
Bobo's is one of my favorites because he has Saita.
Yeah, I don't. Apart from Dolphins team, there isn't really like a bottom of the barrel type of team. I feel.
Sure.
Like you do have that type of top 4, and then the rest is pretty good.
Everything else is it's very like the first couple teams we looked at up until JCK's were just all very, very consistent teams that you could build with.
And then you get Hydride and Toxicity, and then your default is Butterfree.
Yes.
Look, for drafting Pikachu and Butterfree, I'm glad the team turned out like that. Because I forced Pikachu hard in this draft. There were so many other options. A Rotom form would be perfect on this team.
There are so many of them available too.
But you know what? I'm dedicated. I can't drop my man.
Aren't there 5 Rotom forms available? Wasn't Rotom Fan the only one taken?
But Fan.
Yeah, everything.
Honestly, my team would probably appreciate Rotom Spook the most. But, well, you know what? That's not Pikachu, is it?
I'm so excited for Pikachu to get kills.
You have to every game it has to be like based off of Gen. So like this game you can only use Gen 1 Pikachu. And then
wait.
And your 5th week you can't use any electric type moves because of on the first episode he wasn't allowed to use any electric moves.
Wait, that means in like Gen 4 I get to just draft Swellow alongside it. And use the electric birds. And that was Gen 3. What do you do with
become golden Swallow.
Yeah, I get to do that in week 3.
Friendship blocks all weaknesses.
Yo, Aphis, watch out.
Oh my goodness.
I'm bringing... It's like Mantine, how it has a Remoraid next to it. I'm just gonna have a Swellow. Anyway, though. Surprisingly, Pearl is not just all me.
Yeah, I mean, I would put JCK first. I think now, looking back at it, I would put the Memphis Magmar second. And then probably Shaded, Rez. And then Bobo's team is good, but I think Bobo's team starts the very consistent teams. Not so much the best teams, but also not the worst teams.
Yeah, I think that's really solid. All right, so this is gonna wrap up our recaps because we did Platinum, Diamond, and now Pearl. So there are definitely games that have been happening. Everybody that joined us, thank you for watching. And yeah, I'm looking forward again to great season in all 3 leagues.
and obviously to everybody behind the scenes. Thanks to the people who are in the streams, made the tier list. There's definitely been a ton of work that's been put into this season, especially just this week alone. I was telling KJ yesterday, I felt like all I've thought about this past week is Draft League. And I think doing these streams and stuff is part of the reason, but hopefully it's a smooth season. And I feel like we're going to have a ton of good games to watch.
No, I totally agree.
The games already have very much just been solid games. Like when week 1 is giving me like game of the season vibes, you know it's gonna be good.
But I think that's probably where we're gonna wrap it up. So again, if you're watching this on YouTube and you made it this far, everyone who's in here should be linked in the description somewhere. So check them out, and catch you guys in the next stream. Adios.
All right. Peace, everybody.